What is going on, everybody? I am getting a very good feeling that this is probably not going to be that highly viewed of an episode, and that is okay, because we are here for people, whether or not they come, and if they want to come back and watch this episode later, that is fine. What is up to the 25 people that are watching, though? This is Coffee and Crypto Live. Thank you so much for joining us on this Labor Day. That is most likely why we have low viewerships. A lot of people out there spending time with their family, and you gotta love it. We're gonna be doing that after we get off stream. We'll still have some time this evening with our friends and family, but there's more people. It just updated. There's 77 people watching now. What's up, everybody? I'm excited. I'm excited for this episode. Got a lot of stuff to catch you guys up on. It is Optimistic Monday. We're going to catch you up on everything that you might have missed over the weekend, but I got to get something off my chest, out of the way, before we get going. Let's see who's in chat, because a real big deal is who's in chat. But, there's a lot of college football teams that are talked about on this channel, in this room, in the comment section. You guys know I'm a big Virginia Tech fan. Smay is a West Virginia fan. Obviously, my B team is Gators, but then we got UCLA with Matt C. We got Texas A&M with Crypto Vet. We got Florida State with Crypto Set Guy, also known as Jeffrey Fritz. And I'm just going to go ahead and just get it out so we can just not make fun of Tim the rest of this year. Virginia Tech sucks. It's just what it is.
No.
It is what it is. But go Hokies. I will forever be a Hokie fan. But after this weekend, every single team was in a close game. And yes, West Virginia lost their close game. They should have won, but they were playing Pittsburgh. We were playing freaking Old Dominion, and we lost last second. Our defense looked good at times and gave up late. I still have high hopes, though, for this future coaching staff, but it's going to be a rough year. If you are a Hokies fan, stay faithful. Go Hokies. I told them before the stream, there's a beauty to the pessimism, because when you're optimistic, so now the rest of the year, you Florida State fans, Florida fans, if you lose a game, it's going to be heartbreaking. For Virginia Tech, that's just another Saturday for us boys.
Dang.
When we win, that's when it's special. So got to get that, out of the way, but still love the Hokies. We're going to transition into crypto, though, because, there are some interesting things happening in crypto. In case you hadn't noticed, the Dixie is up, and it is not showing signs of slowing down much. What does that mean for Bitcoin and other altcoins? In case you hadn't noticed, and a lot of people give us flack for this, we love Cardano here, and it's not because we're paid by the Charles Hoskinson team. In fact, they've actually talked to us. They've actually complained at us that we do too much price analysis. They don't like when we do price analysis. And you know what? We say, love you, Charles. We're going to keep doing price analysis. Did you guys see that it popped up over 50 cents over the weekend?
Yeah,
that was really big.
It was wild.
It is. We're going to talk about all of that and a lot more, because even if people are taking the day off, crypto is not. There are still people out there trading. There's still news popping, and we're going to keep you updated on everything. Go ahead and leave a like if this is your favorite show, the most on-time show in all of crypto YouTube. I'm going to introduce my two co-hosts. I got TShroom over here, who's giving me good affirmations throughout the show. What's going on, TShroom?
Aloha.
Aloha. Very relaxed from Hawaii. I also got Smay over here, the Turtle King, running the technical directing of the show. How you doing this morning, Smay?
I'm good.
Good. Very good. Very good. We're about to have a fantastic show, but I got a couple announcements I want to make sure you guys know about before we get going into our market polls, into our TA. The first thing that you guys absolutely have to know is make sure every single Friday, if you miss any of these episodes on Coffee and Crypto, if you don't see every single afternoon video, we make sure to keep you up to date with our weekend wrap-ups every Friday at 6 p.m. The last one was phenomenal. Make sure you make that a part of your calendar. 6 p.m. on Fridays, I'm going to go watch Coffee and Crypto weekend recaps. The other one is that tonight we will be having our second episode of Crypto Foundations. We're covering Ethereum. So make sure you go leave a like, a comment, and share it with your friends who maybe don't know that much about crypto. Make sure you join us on that one at 6 p.m. as well. Other news for today, we are moving the HODL Trophy predictions back to Mondays, which means today we are making our HODL Trophy predictions, and we are going to be including you guys a whole lot more, even though there's only 3 of us in the room making our predictions that can hold this HODL Trophy, which I am the current winner of. We want to offer you guys the ability to compete with each other as well. So stay tuned to the end, and we're going to tell you how you can enter. The last piece of information today. Okay, so we will have our market polls, we'll do TA, and then we really want to engage with you guys, have a lot of discussion and chat with you guys. So make sure whether you leave super chats or you leave great questions and comments later on in the show so we can interact with them. Coins, we could do some 2-minute technicals on. Make sure you stick around because we will be interacting with you guys later on down the show. With that being said, though, I'm about to throw it over to Smay for the reading of our green names. I almost missed it, Smay. You would have had a hissy fit with me. Let's go ahead and read our green names of the day.
I would love to read the green names of the day. The green names include Kevin Grims, Elliot Locke, Ryan McEachern, Kevin Grims, Ryan McEachern, Colin McDonald, Alien, Elliot Locke, and then we have some blue names here. We got Crypto Vet, and then we have some more green names. We got Win Peoples, and that's all. So, and shout out to Anthony, our customer service guy.
Speaking of cool things, look at that little thing at the bottom of the video.
Yeah.
That is beautiful looking. Who made that, Smay?
It was a combination of efforts between me and Jillian.
Come on. Shout out to our graphic designer, Jillian, also known as Gillian, because she says that G's don't make the just sound, and yet her name makes that sound. So shout out to old Gillian, our graphic designer, and Smay. We're about to jump into our market pulse, but first, our market pulse today is brought to you by the company Hedge, and it's really cool because TShroom, doing the entire market pulse, is wearing a Hedge sweatshirt. That's awesome. Most of you guys know exactly what Hedge is, and a lot of you already have it. But if you do not, make sure, go to the link in the description right now, click on it. It is a way to get cryptocurrency and DCA cryptocurrency by not having to pay any exchange fees. What you can do is connect to your direct deposit from your work, and you can get paid in crypto directly. This is the future of currency, and you can get ahead of it and save yourself exchange fees without having to take that hard-earned money, go into an exchange, then transfer it over, and then get into a cold wallet. You can just go ahead and put that crypto, whatever you want, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, whatever you want, directly into your crypto holdings today. But you can only do it with Hedge. Go sign up today. Oh, also, you get $10 off if you sign up. So if you want free Bitcoin, go click on it. With that being said, I'm throwing it to TShroom, and we are going to enter the market pulse.
Hello, hello. Well, if you're listening to the sound of my voice, it can mean only one thing, and that's that you're in the market pulse, baby. So here we are. The first thing I want to do is just remind you all that markets are closed today in observance of Labor Day, but we are not. We are here, baby. We are bringing it to you, and we are live. And we're going to start it off on my screen, Smay, the Fear and Greed Index, which has ticked a little bit more bearish since yesterday, and we are going deeper into extreme fear. But we've been going back and forth on extreme fear. Honestly, the Fear and Greed Index hasn't been indicating a whole lot over the last, week and a half, because it's just been kind of ticking between 20 and 25, going to 27 a little bit. So, definitely in the extreme fear territory there, but not really telling us a whole lot in terms of change week to week as of now. But a month ago, we were just in fear. So we have, gone more bearish since last month. So that is something to keep in mind, as that does signify a bit of a trend. Moving into, it's a little zoomed in crazy there. Moving into the CME future predictor, we've actually got a little bit more bullish traction here. This doesn't, I'm gonna kind of disclaim this by saying don't read too much into this yet. At least I'm not reading too much into this, but there is less of a prediction percentage for 75 basis points come September 21st for the Fed rate decision. I wouldn't read too much into this. Who knows why this is trending like this, but that is the case. It is slightly less, so this could be an indication. The only speculation I'd be willing to do on this is that oil prices have been able to stay low through the last 2 months, and I think what that is going to indicate is we potentially have a lower inflation print, which could give Jerome Powell the impetus to bring a surprise 50 basis point hike. However, that is pure speculation. We don't know that, but that is a fundamental part of what the Fed is taking into consideration, that inflation number. So moving right on along, we had some big headlines from across the pond, if you will, as Liz Truss is to become the UK Prime Minister after winning Conservative Party leadership over there in the Unitedest of Kingdoms. So pretty cool. There she is, Liz Truss. And I kept up with UK politics quite a bit in 2016 and 2017, but it's dropped off for me, so I don't really know the context of this election too much. Only that Boris Johnson is very unfavorable now, and he's on his way out, being replaced by Truss, who was trade minister at the time. She believed the country could create great opportunities in areas such as blockchain. So she also said we should welcome cryptocurrencies in a way that doesn't constrain their potential. Truss said in a 2018 tweet. At the time, she was chief secretary of the Treasury, so she's been trusted with very high financial related positions. And despite these two statements, Truss has not said much about her position on crypto or blockchain, but these two statements are rather favorable. But I still call this a loss for crypto in the UK. Why? Because the guy that she lost to is way more favorable on crypto. And we'll take a look at this April 4th article from CoinDesk, which read, UK aims to become global crypto hub, Exchequer says. You might remember this headline. This was pretty significant on that day. Exchequer, I believe, is just like a kind of a glorified accountant there in the UK, kind of a political position. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I don't remember. We could look that up in a second, actually. But so this is the guy that she was running against who lost, the Chancellor Exchequer, Rishi Sunak. He said the measures we've outlined today will help to ensure firms can invest, innovate, and scale up in this country. So he had written actual legislation, which I don't believe passed, but was much more robust of a position on crypto than our winner here, Liz Truss. So, I wouldn't call this a loss because I think overall she's probably going to be favorable. And the other thing too is they have way bigger fish to fry over there in the UK with war kind of on their back door there, and that's going to be pretty big deal for her to try and figure out as the new prime minister there. Exchequer is British spelling of checker, often square patterns. Okay. Oh, I didn't highlight the whole word. Here we go. It is a royal or national treasury. Okay, yeah. So bank account into which tax receipts and other public monies are paid. Okay, interesting. Well, there you go. It's a royal position within a kingdom, so that makes sense. LG's joining the fund, the NFT fund, as LG Electronics launches new NFT marketplace, LG Art Labs. So, and then I remember we had a couple, either last week or the week before, Samsung announcing that they were going to be releasing a crypto exchange later next year.
Yeah. And
now LG, not wanting to be left behind, South Korean electronics company LG has just launched its own new NFT marketplace dubbed LG Arts Labs, available from today. Apparently, you can go check that out today. To all US LG television owners running WebOS 5.0. I am very unfamiliar with that OS. I had never heard of this, but this is very interesting and innovative. So basically, they're leveraging this television app, this smart TV app, and this is where you're going to be interacting with their NFT marketplace. Very perplexing to me, but transactions at LG Art Labs are handled by WallyPto, probably, LG's in-app crypto wallet developed by Hedera Network last September. So Hedera getting the big contract there with LG, this could prove to be a pretty big deal in the future. And this is also, just an aside, this is also a pretty big argument for altcoins, right? There's a lot of Bitcoin maxis out there. I would count myself closely among them. I'm not quite a maxi. I do hold a decent amount of altcoins. But the argument here for altcoins is that they could get picked up. They could basically get huge contracts with companies like LG or, like how Facebook kind of picked up Polygon. Obviously they were trying to get to Ethereum's blockchain and their security, but they picked up Polygon, and that was really very bullish for Polygon there. So that's a pretty big argument for altcoins. You don't want to just buy Bitcoin and just forget about crypto, and although that can be a winning strategy, you also want to, kind of look into altcoins and make sure that you're keeping up with what their potential is and what their use cases is and what industry might benefit from that. But moving along, the Bitcoin mining is not really harmful to the environment, a new study shows. So this is coming from Arcane Research that has done a a fresh new look, taking a fresh new look at the climate implications of crypto. According to the report, Bitcoin mining can actually enhance energy production rather than cause destruction of the environment. The research negates the common notion that Bitcoin mining uses overwhelming amounts of energy and states as a matter of factly that Bitcoin mining has a net positive impact on society, the environment, and energy. So this is something that I've known for a while, but it is pretty interesting. And then towards the end of the article, it says, for every investment of $1,000, Bitcoin mining can roughly push down carbon emissions amounting to 6.32 tons annually in comparison to what solar and wind energy can contribute with 0.98 tons and 1.3 tons respectively. So a big win there for climate critics who want to get into crypto. Hopefully some of them will be compelled to get into crypto as a result of reading this new report from Arcane Research. Tim, what's your take on this?
Well, my first question is, how many people do you think are actually going to read this and care? That's another thing I think that people need to remember is we're going to have this argument for a long time. This concept of Bitcoin mining being energy efficient or good for the environment, bad for the environment. I fear, TShroom, that this is going to be something that people are just going to decide based off of something that has nothing to do with Bitcoin, and they're going to stick to their decision no matter what facts come out. So if something comes out scientifically that says that Bitcoin mining is terrible, all the Bitcoiners are going to say, no, it's not. And then whenever we have reports like this that say Bitcoin is safe, the people who are environmentally friendly and don't like Bitcoin are say, no, it's not. And I'm really concerned and worried that I think that this won't, even though this is good, this isn't the first one that said this. Like this, we've had a lot of evidence come out that says Bitcoin is actually going to be good for the environment. At the end of the day, I think people are choosing. I think it's about the future. I think it's about what people will worry about in the future. And right now, it's actually a place where, I'm not trying to get too political here, but we're kind of in a place in the world right now where we're coming out of it. I think people are going to come back to worrying about money more than almost anything else. But when you have, that saying that's like hard times make hard people make easy times make, easy people, soft people. I guess soft people. We've been doing so well for so long that we have a lot of soft people that we can worry about things like the emissions and there. And I don't want to downplay that because there are problems going on in the environment, but there are still places in the world where they could care less about emissions and about if the world is burning or not. They're still worried about putting food on the table, and Americans don't have that same, we don't have that same need. But there's going to be a day where if we don't take care of money the right way, people aren't going to care about if the world's going to end or not. They're going to be worried about dinner that night, and if the roof is still hanging on to the house. So
yeah. Well, if you go to my screen, Smay, this is the story of time and men. Hard, and this is what Tim was referencing. Hard times create strong men. Strong men creates good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. And it's very, very true. And we can linger here. We have a little bit of time, but I think you asked who is going to be reading this report. You can leave my screen now. Who's going to be reading this report? What I envision this report really punching hard is when there's an undecided board of some investment fund who, they're split. Maybe, some of them wanted to get into crypto and the others don't want to get into crypto. And because they have all these ESG obligations, they've made these commitments to environmentalist groups who have put investment in or want to put investment in. They're trying to curry favor with them. And so a report like this could give an aide the ability to say, hey, board, look, check this out. Or a CEO or a fund manager say, hey, check this out. Look, crypto is actually benefiting the environment. It's not a deterrent. And if they're sophisticated and unbiased enough decision makers on that board, they're going to be able to make the decision in favor of crypto and ultimately in favor of their bottom line as a fund manager, as a fund board advisor. And so that's kind of, I think, where these types of reports thrive. They're not really made for the masses because the masses don't read past paragraph 1 on most things, right? So this is really kind of the way that I'm interpreting the significance of this report. And for people like me, this is exciting because there are also scientists out there who are going to be taking a look at this report and making some decisions based on that. So
I still would say, and I think that's a great point you just said there. And there's the last thing I'll have to say about it, but I even question what you just said because how many companies do things and go directions that they know aren't right. They just know that's the belief of the masses, and then you have this. What's that? It's the what's the energy efficient rating?
ESG.
ESG. Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought it was, but I didn't want to be wrong. How many companies do things ESG, not because they actually even agree or believe in what they're doing? They just want that high rating to get popularity from the masses. And so I'm like, we're in a troubling time where facts mean little.
But that's what I'm saying is like if crypto can be classified as ESG, in which Ethereum is very much on the table to be, this was kind of a narrative that I was kind of looking into last month and the month before. It was like, why is the merge significant? Now we're thinking the merge is significant for deflationary reasons. That was brought to our attention. But actually, during those times, I think the merge was bullish for two reasons. One, because it shows that Ethereum and the decision-making system can actually get something done. That's bullish, right? We have a living, breathing blockchain currency in Ethereum that is going to be the basis for Web3. That's a big, chunky number one, right? Number two, though, was that it was going to unlock ESG funds that are sitting in ESG, meaning like these, think people who care about today's worries and they're kind of anti-oil, right? So anything that is environmentally unfriendly, they don't want to put their money into. Or if it's culturally unfriendly, they don't want to put their money into, like Philip Morris, cigarette companies and stuff like that, right? So some of it's good, but some of it's, way too biased against existing traditional energy. So those were kind of the bullish narratives I was thinking. And so when one of these reports come out, if it's convincing enough to the right people that could classify crypto as ESG friendly, right? That's kind of what I'm thinking, is that actually makes its way into that category. And say what you will about the ESG category from like a, I guess political or cultural, worldview point of view. It's still it exists, right? We have to play within those parameters. So, moving on to our last story of the market pulse, though, and that was some good perspective, though, Tim. I really appreciate that. But moving on to our next story here, and our last story of the market pulse, the IMF says crypto and central bank could set the stage for rich and diverse monetary ecosystem. Here's how. Now what I'll say is any article starting with the IMF says crypto, you want to be very skeptical of reading, not the article, but just the fact that the IMF is coming out and saying anything about crypto. They, in my mind, are probably the biggest opponents, and you'll see why here in just a second. This is from the IMF, quote, "We argue that the monetary system of the future should harness the new technology capabilities demonstrated by crypto, but be grounded in the trust central banks provide. In other words, any legitimate transaction that can be carried out with crypto can be accomplished better with central bank money. Central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, and other public infrastructure can underpin a rich and diverse monetary ecosystem that supports innovation in the public interest." And the last quote I'll read here: "Crypto is neither stable nor efficient. It is and this is their quotes, not mine. I would never say this. Some crypto is inefficient, but crypto is neither stable nor inefficient. It is largely unregulated sector, and its participants are not accountable to society. Frequent fraud, theft, scams have raised serious concerns about market integrity." Why do I read this? I read this because we want to know what the arguments of the opposition are so that we may face them wisely and aptly. We want to be able to know what we're up against here, folks. And the IMF is a very powerful force internationally. Domestically in the United States and North America, it has limited power, but it has influence. But internationally, it has very great power. Well, folks, that is your market pulse, and I really appreciate you all listening and tuning in. Thank you so much. I am TShroom.
Boom. Well, that was fantastic. Catching you up on all the news. Also, just adding to it, we're going to talk in detail because there's not really much to say, but I'll just add on. We are less than 24 hours away from the last update to Ethereum. So this one, if there's a bug, it could be a problem. But if it passes correctly, Ethereum 2.0 is going to be launching on September 15th, and there will be nothing that will stop it. We're also 2 weeks away, a little over 2 weeks away from Cardano's Vassal hard fork launching. So if you guys, are excited about September, and traditionally Septembers are bearish, could this one be different? We'll have to see, because we do have some exciting news coming out. But we're about to jump in and do some technical analysis. But before we do, we just had our long market pulse. We had some crypto. Let's grab a quick drink of coffee, and let's do our question of the day. So I'm going to throw it back over to TShroom. What is our question for today for the chat to engage with?
We've got a really good one, Tim and Smay. Do not go to my screen right now. All right. The question of the day, though, is: would you rather get trapped in the middle of a food fight or a water balloon fight? So we're having a little fun with this question here. I want to put this to Smay first. Smay, what do you say?
Considering that the last time I was in a water balloon fight, it hurt really bad because I was getting pelted with little rubber balloons, I would say probably a food fight because I feel like it'd be a lot less painful.
Okay. And remember, the question here is, would you rather get trapped in the middle of a food fight or a water balloon fight? Tim, I want to hear your answer.
Well, I don't understand Smay's answer because there's a lot of food out there that would hurt if you got hit with it.
Yeah, but
Like
I
what?
imagine it's like cafeteria food.
Like what? What would hurt?
Pick your fruit. I mean, an
Clams?
apple, an orange.
An apple would hurt?
Let's see what else. Day-old bread.
Yeah, but an
day-old-
apple isn't going to soak all your clothes.
Well, here's what I'm also gonna get at is I would just say water balloon fight because that's the other one is food fight. You ain't getting those clothes clean again. Like that's just not
can
gonna
care- I
unless
can
you have
care
some
less.
really really good detergent. I'm going water balloon fight. I've never been in one that hurt me too bad. I don't know what balloons May uses.
Well, it wasn't the balloons; it was the people I was with. They're very angry, horrible people.
Were they punching you?
No, they were throwing them at me very hard.
They fill the water balloons with bleach or something?
Do you
No,
not?
it hurt.
I thought the whole purpose of a fight with balloons or food is to throw it as hard as possible.
Well, I have soft skin and it hurt.
Okay.
Wow.
That's fair.
It sounds like... Okay.
I choose balloon.
Oh, a balloon fight? Okay.
Yeah.
I think I would go with food fight because I didn't consider really the hurt aspect of it, but I've been through Army basic training. I'm immune to all pain. And so my thinking was, hey, maybe some of this food that gets thrown on me is actually going to be quite tasty. It might be,
Ew.
it might be some gourmet.
What, are you just going to walk around with your mouth open?
As long as it's not like oysters and the actual shell is like.
I was say someone just put in
pelting.
comments clams.
Yeah, clams,
Yeah.
oysters, lobster even probably.
Well,
wouldn't
I
hurt.
imagine like this is like a school cafeteria.
A
it's probably-
banana?
Probably like mashed potatoes and like.
Well, you can
baked
imagine what you'd
beans.
like, Smay, but that's not in the question.
Okay.
Just so you know.
All right.
Yeah, it's just a middle of a food fight. So
I
this
think
food
the
fight-
potential for pain from a food fight is way higher than the potential pain from a balloon fight.
the food fight could be on the moon where it's just cheese, because
So could the
moon's
water
made
balloon
out of
fight then?
cheese.
In which case, it would not work very well.
Wait, the moon's made out of what?
The moon is made out of a lot of different things, Smay.
Nice.
Well,
So-
we're gonna go ahead and transition back
I'm seeing-
into crypto.
Yeah, I'm seeing more water balloon than food.
Yeah, I think
the
people
chat.
as a whole are on the water balloon side. Guys, we are about to jump into TA, but before I do, TA section is brought to you guys by Ledger, and you guys never heard of Ledgers before, but if you do not have one, if you do not have a cold wallet, I don't know why you don't have one yet, because if it's not your keys, it's not your crypto. If you are leaving all of your money on exchanges, then you have a problem. You need to solve that today. Go get a Ledger. It's good to keep your trading money on exchanges, but if you plan on sitting on money and holding it for a long time and hodling, because we are at the bottom of a bear market, you're going to want a cold wallet right now. There's a link in the description down below. Go get Ledger. With that being said, though, let's jump over to the charts and dive into what's happening. As the title of this video suggests, the dollar is gaining power. Just in case you guys did not see it, there were a lot of articles written about it, but last night we went above, I guess this was early this morning rather, because I'm on the 4-hourly chart. We went above 110. This is something that's just not going away, guys. The Dixie is continuing to gain power. Something that you should look at, but I'm not going to find a whole lot of hope in, is that we are seeing bearish divergences start to form. So we are seeing the dollar start to get overextended, and that starts over here. We definitely see it over here on the daily chart. Let me go out to the weekly chart. I didn't even check that this morning. But we're getting overextended on the daily chart. We're starting to work back down, getting some bearish divergence. The only problem is that bearish divergence does not always signify that it's over. We've seen times in the past where bearish divergences are calling that the reversal is coming soon, but it doesn't mean it's over just yet. As I told you guys before, I'm still keeping my eyes on the $112 to $113 region, and I'll explain why. The 112, as you guys can see, we talked about this last week. There is a bull flag or a bull pennant, because this is converging lines that broke out, and this gives us a prediction of 112, which is very close to what I've been talking about now for a long time, going out to the daily chart, is that the Dixie is in a megaphone pattern where we're spreading out. Good news, optimistic Monday, these traditionally break to the downside. Bad news, we could go all the way up to this red line around that 113. Maybe even if we take our time, we start spreading out to 114, 115, 116. But good news is these do end up breaking down more often than not. Also, we are seeing an overextended RSI on pretty much every single time frame. So the question is when, not if, the Dixie will fall again. But if it goes on for much further, we could see, and we're going to go switch over here to Bitcoin, we could see Bitcoin start to set new lows. I actually was reading a tweet this morning. I'm not going to go to it because I have no idea where I'd find it. But Caleb Franzen, one of our favorite analysts here, we love having him on. He talked about this is the highest the Dixie's ever been. Could it be that this is going to be matched with the lowest? This is the highest Dixie's been this year. Could we see the stock market? Could we see the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ go to its lowest? And then, along with that, could we see Bitcoin go with it as well? We are continuing to keep our eyes here on Bitcoin in this little trading channel that has given us several touches, although we are spending the majority of our time below the midway point. But those two lines we're looking at right here is the $20,441 and the $19,500 level. You guys can see I'm going to go ahead and move this and just get out of the way so we can see it more clearly. Just wanted to mark those lines for you in case you did not have them. We bounced back and forth several times with 1, 2, 3, 4 touches of this blue level of support, and we have 3 touches of this yellow line. Which way will we break? That is the question. But when we see the Dixie continuing to climb up and up and up, the probability of Bitcoin falling down is more and more likely. The only thing at this point that I'm seeing on the charts that could say that Bitcoin could rally is, of course, this falling wedge that we just broke out of here a couple of days ago. Although we're coming back down and riding the former resistance as support, will we finally end up breaking, or will the bearish sentiment in the market just be too much? Let's say we do break bullish. Let's say we do start to climb. This would give us a prediction of coming up, and I talked about this on Friday, but I just want to remind everybody, when we broke out, this gave us a prediction of coming back up to the higher level of this zone we've been in for a while, around 22,300. But like I said, just because TA and formations are calling for something does not mean it always happens, because just in case you guys wondered, Tim, what is that red line you have right here? Well, that's the prediction of our rising wedge we broke out of here back on August 17th, where this predicts that we could hit as low as 18.7. So now we're kind of sitting with a decision time. Which wedge are we going to play out? Are we going to play out the falling wedge and go all the way down to 18.7, or are we going to go with the rising wedge, or are we going to go with the falling wedge and go back up to 22.3? I want to hear in the comments what you guys think, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm still sitting in the boat I sat in all of last week. I think that Bitcoin has further to go. I'm not saying we won't bounce back up to 25,000. I'm not saying that we have to set a new low and go below 17,500, which is all the way back here when we bottomed. I'm not saying we have to go that low before rallying back up towards 25,000. What I do believe is that we're going to go sub 19,000 at least for now, and get ready, because we're going to be experiencing months of volatility unless something fundamentally changes in the space, both in news, in terms of, let's see here, institutional adoption, which there's no pressure bringing any more institutional adoption in the space. We have some already with BlackRock and others joining the space. That was not enough to press the price up. If we're going to see some regulational clarity, giving confidence to investors, we're not seeing that continue to develop. So right now, I'm just fully expecting volatility, and we're in a bear trend right now, a secondary bear trend. I'm expecting that to continue, but there is some hope out there, and that would be the hope all the way up to maybe 22.3 before we have to get back into decision time. Let's move on to Ethereum and look at what Ethereum is doing. Kind of similar things as Bitcoin, only it's just not as bearish. Just like Bitcoin, we had a falling wedge that if we were to break up to the prediction, that's going to put us up around $1,914, so $1,914. Although just like Bitcoin, it is kind of riding this former resistance and turning to support. So the question is the bearish narrative that's currently in the space going to continue to suppress Ethereum, or are we going to see the bullish breakout? There's a reason I have a little more hope about Ethereum, is because that ETH 2.0 merge is going to be launching here next week. And the question on everybody's brain is this going to cause bullish sentiment? Is it going to be bearish? Is this going to be a sell the news, in which case it'll make the price fall down? Is this going to bring more excitement because the tech is finally here and more attention to the space? I'm kind of torn between these two. And the reason why, and you can go off my screen right now, Smay, because I'll go back to TA here in just a second. The reason why is because you guys know, I talked about before, I think that if we were just talking about Ethereum's price and we didn't know anything about the fundamentals, that the overhype of Ethereum, the fact that it rose by 130% within 2 months and then it's falling, I think from a TA perspective, you're going to see a lot of things pointing at the price coming down. Here's the issue, though, is because when we're looking at the TA, we're kind of just measuring demand. With not a lot of fluctuations in supply, you're only looking at the demand to decide the price. Because in case you guys took economics, the price of an asset is when you're looking at the relationship between the supply and demand. Ethereum's in a very interesting spot where when ETH2 finally launches, it won't be the demand that affects the price. It's actually going to be the supply, with the supply dropping by 90% per day. That is really big, and that's what's putting me in this pickle. I do expect demand on Ethereum to drop a little bit, but I also, because that supply is dropping so enormously, am maybe expecting that Ethereum could be one of the ones to kind of lead us out of this bear market back into a bull market, and maybe set on a little trek of its own because of that loss in supply. So that's why I'm kind of wrestling with Ethereum so much right now, is because yes, I'm a technical analyst. Yes, I love TA. I'm not necessarily, go back to my screen right now, Smay. I'm not necessarily seeing overwhelming technicals calling for bullish action, but I also am very well aware of the fundamentals on Ethereum, knowing that this is something that could change all completely. You also notice the volume on Ethereum is really, really low right now in the last couple of candles. I'm wondering now if that's just indecision in the market because they're not ready to buy, but they're also not ready to sell on Ethereum. So keep your eyes on what's happening over there with those fundamentals. Bitcoin does not have that same fundamental update. I know that Bitcoin traditionally moves the market, like everything seems to follow Bitcoin. But when you're looking at Cardano and Ethereum, we're going to look at Cardano here in a second. When you're looking at Ethereum, it has different fundamentals coming out here very soon that should be a boost in the price action. Again, I'll say this one last time just in case you guys didn't hear me. I think Bitcoin demand is going to drop, which because the supply is not changing, that will bring a lower price action for Bitcoin. I think demand will drop in Ethereum as well because the hype has already been there. The excitement of ETH 2.0 has already been there. The reason why the price, though, might climb on Ethereum is because of the fundamentals of supply. And then let's move on to the last coin I want to talk about, and that is Cardano. Now, this is one, it's going to be really hard to do a whole lot of good TA because this wave that it has, this is based off of the excitement of the news that Vasil finally has a date, and that date is September 22nd. So just like when we had Ethereum's hype back here, when Ethereum went parabolic, rallying over 130% because ETH 2.0 news got launched, we've known about Vasil for a while, but it seemed like it kept getting pushed off. Could this finally be that excitement rally we talked about on Cardano? That Vasil's finally going to come through. And the haters, you guys are going to continue to hate, but those who have been faithful and those who love Cardano and have continued to wait for the fundamentals, I think you're about to be rewarded. In which case, all I can say about Cardano is going back to predictions we made before, where again, I told you guys, Ethereum, let's just even start here. I'm not going to go all the way down to the bottom of Ethereum. Let's just start from the bottom of this one right here and tell you guys how good of a job Ethereum did based off of its hype. And that put us up at about 100% increase. Of course, you guys can do the math on Cardano, but I'll go ahead and do it for you. If we were to have 100% increase on Cardano after this excitement, we would have, it's not going to be quite $1 fully because we're going to start lower, but 100%, I got to go ahead and move my screen here a little bit. It's going to take us all the way up around, boop, 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 boop. Oh, it's going to go past it. It's going to take us up to about 85 cents. 85 cents if we just match what Ethereum did. The only difference is, what's great about Ethereum is the fundamentals of supply, but that hype was not based off of the fundamentals. That was just off the news. Potentially, could we see Cardano go up even higher? A lot of other predictors, a lot of other analysts are predicting over $1 all the way up to potentially matching some prices we had back here in April of this year, going back up towards $1.20. That's a little high for my taste at this point, but Cardano has always been a project that kind of does some things more aggressively than we would have thought. It falls faster than we would think it would fall, and it rises faster than we think it would fall. So this is another one. If you don't like Cardano, then can keep on not buying it. If you want to short it, that's up to you. If you love Cardano and you've been patient and you've been waiting, I do believe Cardano's about to pay off for you, though. So keep your eyes on what's happening on that chart. That is all I have for technical analysis. Not a whole lot. Like I said, because Bitcoin kind of just stayed in this little zone, and Bitcoin at the moment is the leading indicator of what's going to be happening with crypto. Because we got the Dixie continuing to climb, but it's doing it in a slow way. Ethereum and Cardano, we're kind of waiting to just see how much adoption happens. Ethereum hasn't had that much. The volume's been lower. I know on the daily chart it's raised a little bit, but here on the 4-hourly chart, you're going to see that there's just the last day and a half or so, there's not been a lot of action on Ethereum. Cardano, on the other hand, it's picking up some volume. So a lot of stuff to watch play out the rest of this week. And I know you guys would want, if you want some better technicals, you guys want some numbers in your head. I can't give you numbers at this point for Cardano because, like I said, it is one of those projects that will just move a lot quicker than any TA could really predict. TShroom, do you have any thoughts about any of that before we kind of transition into some chat and engagement with the fans and the commenters? Did you see anything in chat that was interesting you wanted to point out?
Yeah, you don't need to go to my screen. One thing that I'm thinking about is that the markets are closed today, and that brings an interesting dynamic because so many traders are just not sitting at their desk, right? They're out doing non-laborious things, recreational things. So that's something to consider is like the price action today may not be setting the tone for the rest of the week like it usually does. Price action on a Monday is going to set the tone for the rest of the week. Today, you can't really, it's an asterisk day, right? Because nobody's sitting at their desk trading. You might be, and that's great on you. You may even have an edge with that psychological knowledge that a lot of traders are not at their desk right now. But that's just something to keep in mind with those markets being closed. So that's kind of my take is big asterisk today. Tomorrow will be more of the tone setting, and even then you might have a little bit of a hangover effect from today, from Labor Day. So maybe the whole week is a little skewed, but just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, and I do think we're going to see breakouts happening. I'm going to go actually look at something here in the chart and just say it, but I'm going to let the room kind of talk about this one. I love, by the way, when comments say, hey, I disagree. And literally that's how Elliot Locke started his. He's a member. He loves us. But he says, Tim, I disagree. ETH 2.0 happens, and I think it will be a sell the news event because of the FUD about the transaction fees not changing much right away. So let me stop, and I'm going to get TShroom's take here in just a second, but let me start, Elliot, by answering. I agreed with that take. That was actually my take here over a week ago. That Ethereum came out and they announced, hey guys, by the way, we're not fixing gas fees. This merge will not fix gas fees. It will not make us transact faster. And so when I heard that information, and that's what I was going off of, I said, all right, this is going to be we had some hype, we had some buy the rumor, and then it's going to launch, and there's going to be a lot of people who take advantage of it and take profit, and it sells and it goes down. That was my take. And I do think there probably will be some form of a dip on the day that it finally launches. By the way, someone else asked, what date is that? It's September 15th, unless something changes.
Well, I would actually, so I looked it up because I heard you say that. It could be as late as the 20th. It could be later than that, too.
They gave a range?
Yeah, the 10th through the 20th. So the 10th, it could actually happen on the 10th. I believe it's
really
it's all according to like the code. So this last test is going to basically activate it. I think actually the previous test actually activated it, but then it started a countdown. So
this has been very confusing because I've corrected people before and then had to go back and look at it. At first, I said I remember the 20th. That was a big deal. They said actually I think it was the 21st. Yeah. When they had made an announcement a long time ago, they said the 21st. Then it became the 20th, and then it was the 19th. And then I was on a show and I was talking to somebody and they said 15th. I said, no, I think it's the 19th. Well, then I went back and read a source and they said 15th, and then that date was confirmed. So we really don't know what the exact date is.
It's beholden to the block sizes, I believe.
Really?
And so those vary. And so essentially, I believe it's a range of it is a range from the 10th to the 20th, but I also saw search results for the 15th. But that does happen to be right in the middle, so maybe people just wanted a day to publish in their articles, and they went with the 15th.
I could have sworn that there was, when they originally made when they made the official announcement here like 2 weeks ago, they gave the date the 15th. Anyway, the point of it is, though, Elliot, I agree with your take. That was my take, that there's nothing fundamentally that would cause a rise in demand. So therefore, the price should drop. So here is where I'm saying I think there might be a little bit of a drop at first, but then it could rally back up, is because of that daily ETH rewards will be dropping from 13,000 Ethereum to only 1,600. That changes a lot because the demand could continue to fall, right? So if the demand falls, the supply stays the same, the price is going to drop. But when you have both of them falling, but supply drops faster than the demand, that should bring an increase to price. So I don't know how fast or how high, but I think that there's a good chance Ethereum could look a little loopy. It's almost like it's a redo on the charts because, yes, demand will fall a little bit right alongside Bitcoin because as Bitcoin demand falls, I think so will Ethereum. The only difference is then that will get all out of whack because the supply of Ethereum is dropping so fast, the demand will have to kind of decide, well, we didn't think we wanted Ethereum, but the price is rallying so fast, should we jump in on this train? And we've always seen with Bitcoin or gold or other assets, when there is a loss in supply, so that when we're talking about Bitcoin, we're talking about the halving. Go back and look at every single halving event, the price starts to rally actually pretty quickly. When you go back and look at gold, times in history where the mining actually decreased and they weren't mining as much, you watch the price of gold increase. Why would we think it'd be any different with Ethereum, where we're going to see the mining, or not the mining, we're going to see the rewards because it's switching from mining to staking drop so drastically? That should bring an increase to price. The question is how much. But I'm kind of sitting here saying I agree the demand will drop. It probably won't drop anywhere near as fast as that supply.
Yeah. So my take on it, and it was Elliot Locke, right?
Elliot Locke, yeah.
So it's tough, right? Because, if you're post-merge, it's all happened, and it's all happened successfully, let's say. You're post-merge, and you're a retail trader, and you're excited because you're thinking, I'm going to go into whatever, Uniswap, and I'm going to buy some Ethereum, right? And then you do it, and there's still that gas fee. That is a powerful phenomenon that could discourage traders from further buying Ethereum. But here's what I'd say. is the folks where it really matters, like dApp developers, right? dApp developers better know, or they should be fired. They better know that there's not going to be a significant change in the gas fees at this point. And those are the guys that I think really matter, because what's make or break Ethereum versus Cardano or Solana or Binance at this point, it's not going to be the retail traders in the long run, right? I mean, if you disagree with that, then my argument's invalid. But if you do agree with that, it's not going to be the retail traders. It's going to be the institutional traders who are looking at dApp count. They're looking at how many projects are on this blockchain. And ultimately, I mean, Ethereum's far and away in the lead, and I don't think that the dApps are going to leave because of those fees staying there, right? That's just the way that I see it. If the dApps were going to leave, they would have already done it for other reasons. But the dApps that have remained on Ethereum are staying there because they want Ethereum, and maybe they're working out deals with Polygons and the Optimisms of the world to try and make it more efficient. But they're staying with Ethereum because it's the name, right? Well, and it's the security that comes with it.
And even following what you're saying right there, just because the ETH fees will not be fixed with this merge, they will be fixed down the road. There will be updates to Ethereum that fix them down the road. So to your credit, what you're saying, TShroom, is maybe these dApps are looking and saying, are we going to get cheaper price? Would it be cheaper for us immediately to switch to something like Cardano or Polkadot or somewhere else? It could be cheaper short term, but if they really trust the project of Ethereum and what the future of Ethereum looks like, and they know those fees will get cheaper down the road, they're just going to say, hey, we're just going to come and ride this one out and keep those high fees, but know that they will be fixed down the road because we want to be on the king of altcoins, Ethereum. And again, I'm not ready to crown Ethereum king of crypto just yet and say it will surpass Bitcoin. However, it is very possible, and there are several people that think that, I mean, there are several people out there that have a lot of money and are very heavily invested in crypto who don't even want to invest in Bitcoin. They want to just invest in Ethereum. They're Ethereum maxis. And so, again, we got to watch that as it plays out. I'm not in that boat yet. I still think Bitcoin will remain the king of crypto. I think that what Bitcoin has to offer is super special, and Ethereum's not going to overtake it at this point. However, I'm not going to also be ignorant enough to say that it is impossible for Ethereum to pass Bitcoin somewhere down the road.
Yeah, and I would say, first of all, I saw a lot of talk about that, of Ethereum, overcoming Bitcoin and flipping Bitcoin while as I was doing research for the Market Pulse this morning.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I think if there was a reason why Ethereum would flip Bitcoin, it's because if it was able to solve its initial coin distribution problem, its initial coin offering problem, because there's all these Ethereum, right, that nobody really knows who owns it, and it's more than likely it's owned by somebody like Vitalik or one of the founders, right? And so people don't like that because that's centralized, right? If they were to solve that problem unequivocally, and no one would be able to say, oh, the higher ups at Ethereum actually own a lot of Ethereum and they could manipulate the price in the future, that I think would make it similarly valuable to Bitcoin. But then you still have other issues, and it's still even at that point you still have other issues. I mean, gas fee, one of them. But then you also have the fact that it's just not Bitcoin, and it's been branded so differently to be the foundation of Web3, whereas Bitcoin is more of that classic cryptocurrency really brand. So that's kind of the way I see it. But I mean, it's not that it can never happen. It's just right now it doesn't make sense. It doesn't really make sense quite yet.
We got a comment here trying to stir the pot. Tim France said 88 to 100 next bull run. Sell me some hopium. Tim, we love Cardano. Here's what I will say. First of all, no, Cardano is not going to $100 next bull run. I honestly think that if Cardano makes it back to $3 by the end of next bull run, that's going to be good. I think Cardano had no business being at $3 before. So I think a lot of Cardano holders are a little spoiled into thinking that next bull run we have to outdo $3. I think $3 to $4, maybe stretching up to $5 for the next bull run is going to be good for Cardano. Here's what you got to make sure you're strapping in for. You got to strap in for the long haul. Like, there's so much in crypto that's going to develop over the next 5 to 10 years. One of the things Charles Hoskinson said in an interview in Austin, Texas, he talked about crypto as a whole. He's like, there are still so many problems in crypto that we need to make this simpler and easier for people that we are probably 3 to 5 years away from developing. Like, 5 years from now, there will be things that we're just like, oh, this is so simple, this is so easy, that if we're looking back to when we could remember today, we're like, that was complicated, that was hard, that was difficult. And so it's like, strap in for the long haul, strap in for the fundamentals. Here's what I will say. I also, with a current valuation of the dollar, I don't think Cardano would ever go all the way up to $100. The reason why there's a potential chance Cardano could go to $100 is if the dollar continues to be inflated at the rate that it's being inflated currently. And if the dollar is getting worthless and worthless and worthless every single year, then yeah, you're going to start making the arguments for Bitcoin being, upwards of $10 to $20 million per Bitcoin, Ethereum being, $100,000 per Ethereum, Cardano being $100 per Cardano. The chances of that happening have to be paired with the death of the dollar, and then you get to a place where it's like, will we continue to compare crypto to dollars, or will we start comparing all crypto to Bitcoin? So will there be a point where one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin, and then Ethereum is 0.67 Bitcoin or 1.2 Bitcoin, or if it outdoes it, and Cardano is 0.00002. I don't know how many zeros I need to add in there, but you get my drift. Is that when we start talking about $100 Cardano, the reason why I believe we probably will never see that is because either one, the dollar will have died at that point, in which case we're not comparing it to it at that point. Or number two, we're going to have the backing of something very strong, which will stabilize the dollar. Like maybe we still utilize the term dollar, but it means something completely different than the centralized exchange and currency that we currently have with the US dollar.
My theory is at that point, if you have a scenario that plays out like that, the dollar is what government workers are paid in. That's kind of what I think, like Army and DOT workers. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of people that work for the government, the US government, but that's kind of, because why would the government ever pay you in anything other than their dollars, unless something changes. But that's kind of what I think.
It is going to be a topic that's going to be interesting. We don't need to be talking about it right now, but when the bull market starts to come back and then we have new investors and people who know anything about crypto, the conversation will have to come back, Tim France, about why Cardano could never be like the amount of people that were wondering like, oh, should I buy Cardano right now because Cardano's less than $1, and so someday when it gets to be the same price as Bitcoin, it's going to be worth so much money, and it's like that's not how it works.
Not how the
Cryptos
tokenomics
won't
works.
have the same price action. Cardano was built to be a very small price per coin. Bitcoin was built to be very expensive per coin. So we don't have to, I'm assuming nobody in chat needs that conversation. This is the bottom of a bear market where I think everybody who is watching, all 570 of you that are watching right now, are probably decently knowledgeable about how crypto works.
Know a thing or two about it.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah. Was there any other chat you guys saw? I don't think I saw any super chats, but we did have a new member, Crypto Mini Bike, and I was talking with him. He said, "Oh, I just finally figured out how to get signed up for it finally." But thank you so much, man, for being one of our members. We're gonna be doing a lot more with you guys soon. Like I don't have the official date, but I think either next week or the week after, we're going to be having another, I think next week. Next week, we're going to have another membership stream, and we got some big announcements coming for you guys that are going to be exciting. So, Crypto Mini Bike, looking forward to seeing you there. Did you guys see anything else in chat? Was there any coins? Did you guys see any coins suggested for 2-minute technicals that we can do a quick look at?
I don't know if you told him that it was coming up.
I told him in the beginning, but I didn't see it coming. If you guys,
if you guys
want any 2-minute technicals, you guys can go ahead and drop some of those now. Let's see here.
Well, you're gonna have to stall him for like 20 seconds.
That's fine. That's
so
I'm looking at other chat.
Yeah. Luna.
I'll stall him with a poem.
Somebody asked about Julius asked about Luna C.
Yeah.
Luna C.
I'll tell you, and this is a 100% not while we're waiting. This is not financial advice at all. But what I have noticed is that and we've been seeing them quite often, unfortunately, over the summer. But when a project dies, like Celsius or Luna, there's something about the crypto market and some of the degeneracy that's in the crypto market and traders is that they will just go and buy these failed projects, and then they pump. And then they really do pump. And I'm seeing this consistently. We saw this in, what was the one the other day, Smay, that I was all excited about, the stable coin. Alcor or something.
Yeah, it starts with an A.
I can't remember.
It's something dollar. Akala?
Yeah, Akala dollar. Where it was like the stable coin lost its peg, went down to like less than a cent. And then the next day, they like all got together and burned that stable coin, and it went back up to like 95 cents, which was like 10,000% in a minute. And to me, it's like, okay, this is definitely not for the average person at all. And it's not even for the average crypto trader. It's for the people who like understand risk and understand. Like I was thinking, if I was going to try to get into something like that, first of all, you'd be spending way too much time monitoring stable coins and failures out there. But never more than $100. And that $100 might be way too much for some people. Probably is. Probably too much for me, but
Well, yeah, that's also Luna Classic is going to be a tradable coin. Tradable stuff happens there. Not anything long term, like nothing long term. I would never put money there and just walk away and leave it there and say, let's just see where this sits in 10 years. Like that is one that a lot of experienced traders are going to take advantage of. A lot of volatility happening there, and they're going to make some money off of suckers who read headlines that say that Luna is back and it's going to be better than ever, and they're going to invest in it, and then they'll just take all their supply.
Well,
they'll take all their money.
I think even in this case, kind of to what TShroom was saying, I think this is like a more micro version of even what Warren Buffett's quote is: when there's blood in the streets, that's when the investors come out. I think that's exact. I think if you're a trader, when you see stories like that, I mean, don't turn off the news. Like I would look for opportunities there, because there absolutely are going to be opportunities. Like especially with the Sakala thing, if you read that story, saw that it lost its peg, put $5, put $10 if you're a trader, and because that this project's going to scramble to try to regain the peg. So at some point there's going to be some kind of bounce, or a lot of traders trying to do the exact same thing you're doing. Yeah. So there's always an opportunity when there's blood in the streets and there's lots of fear. So even on the micro scale. So.
But can't stress enough how much I don't recommend trying to do that.
I was going to say, the other thing about that is its maturity of investing, and I would say before anyone attempts to do stuff like that, you need to become and prove it to yourself that you are an unemotional trader.
Right.
You are an unemotional investor, meaning when something goes to zero, if something goes to zero, it would not affect you one bit, one way or the other. Those are the only people who are going to make it in those types of investments. If you have any form of attachment to that $5 you're putting into Luna C, and then and it doesn't go, or even like what's going to happen is you're going to put $5 in, and that $5 is going to turn into like $1,000, and it's going to pair, and you're going to be you're going to say, ooh, that's so. I'm going to just go ahead and leave it in and see if it goes. And then one day is going to wipe it down to zero. And then, even though you only technically lost $5, you'll have been emotionally connected to the $1,000 that $5 became, and now you'll feel depressed and hurt, and you're like, oh, this sucks. It's just like the amount of emotional stress and the emotional ups and downs of investing in projects like that. To me, until you're experienced at completely taking the emotions out of trading, I just don't recommend dabbling in that type of stuff. You're better using your time and attention and money and learning things that will last you a long time. I don't know if the lessons you'll learn doing that are worth it.
Well, I feel like that's just square one for trading. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you need to have a grasp of your emotions before you start trading any substantial amount of money. So
yeah. Well, let's see here. We definitely got a lot of ones. Smay, I'm gonna let you choose because I don't even know if I see like a leader. I just see a bunch of different ones.
I saw a good amount of algo.
Algo?
I saw H bar a decent amount.
H bar also. BNB. I'm seeing a couple BNB.
We'll do algo, and then we'll wrap up, and we will do our HODL trophy predictions. Which, by the way, a big announcement about that I'll tell you guys here in just a second. But let me go ahead and try to find an algo chart. All right, you can go ahead and go to my screen here. Smay, the first thing I'm noticing about algo is that more than likely we have some form of a falling. It's either a channel or it's going to be the resistance on this is going to be really easy to kind of mark out. That super easy. We're back up at resistance. The question is going to be based on how technical analysis you guys do. What are you going to do? Are you going to come to this peak right here and come down and say that it used to be kind of a resistance, or maybe even you go up this one? The other one is you could technically bring in these and come down here. So this is where, when a lot of people don't like technical analysis, is because they don't want to put in the thought work to try to find out which support line you really should be paying attention to. Here's what I'll say. The reason why I'm going to go ahead and choose and stick with that level of support, this little bit of teaching right here, is this was an important level back here. All right, so I would have, if I didn't know any of this price action, I would have used this line back here as a support level, and then you have a falling wedge because we have this descending level of resistance right there that we broke out of. But this line, I guess, continues to be important as it comes down. We had another touch right here. So you could do a couple different things. You could also say that we have a broadening wedge going on, where a megaphone pattern where the support is spreading out. Either way, I'll turn that one blue just so you guys, nope, that's not what I wanted. I did not want to draw lines on my thing. There we go. Sorry. All right. So this is what we're kind of looking at here. Either way, just so you guys know, both of these end up breaking bullish. The question is, So with the resistance being very clear, that is very helpful. That is very nice on the TA side, that algo potentially could be working its way to break up and out through this line. The only problem is if it does not, if it rejects, the question is, do we come back down potentially to this red line and then bounce up, or do we come all the way down to the blue line, which you never work backwards. I don't know why I draw it the way. It would be a very far drop before we touch that blue line and then find support. So I'm kind of leaning towards I don't think that blue line's going to happen again. If it does, that's a very, very big change in algo. I think algo would be suffering a lot. The other thing I'm looking at here is that we don't really have on the daily chart, we don't have anything bearish necessarily on the RSI. We're bounced right there off the 50 on the daily, so maybe there's a little bit of retracement. Going to the 4-hourly chart, let's see if there's anything developing here. Not necessarily anything. There's not necessarily bullish RSI divergence happening there. The bearish, there's not really bearish RSI divergence on the 4-hourly chart. Let's look at what Lux Algo and maybe our volume profile is saying as well, and then we'll kind of wrap up this algo. I'm sorry, there's not necessarily a whole lot to go off on the 4-hourly chart. We got a buy signal that we technically had a wick cam in touch. Well, let's see on the daily chart. I'm assuming the daily chart's under a sell signal. Oh, we just flashed buy on the daily chart. The only problem is we still have a red trend catcher and red and purple candles. So don't access yet. Anyone who uses Lux Algo, we love Lux Algo. But if you guys saw this on Algo and you're like, oh, Tim, we just had a buy signal. Well, that's not the reason to purchase just yet. You're waiting for a green trend catcher and green candles as well. That being said, if we do catch that, and again, this would be breaking through this line, you're looking all the way up at around 48 to 50 cents before we have some take profit suggestions from Lux Algo. The last one I want to look at here, though, let's go to the VRVP. I'm going to turn Lux Algo off, get my RSI out of the way. Let's get us some timeline of this entire dip. Wow, that's what the heck? All right, I'm going to kind of spread this out. We're sitting right at kind of the peak of the volume right now. So when we're looking at the last couple of, this is be weeks and months here, all the way back to June, we're sitting right at the level where the majority of the trading on Algo has happened. If we break bearish, obviously we're going to find support at the bottoms right there around 28 cents. But if we can break bullish and break through this descending level of resistance, we're looking at around 33 cents before we kind of have a lot of ease. If I were to spread us out and go back up here, we could build some momentum to break all the way up to the upside here around 74 cents before we get some good resistance back in the space. Depending on what you're going to do with this information, you could make an argument and say, all right, Tim, what's the what should we be looking at for a prediction based off of this falling wedge? What we're going to do is we're going to come up here to the peak where we touched, and then I'm going to carry this over to the, if we were to break out, that would put us right up above. It would actually take us over $1.26. That's pretty aggressive. I don't know if that's going to happen unless something fundamentally really starts to blow up on not Lux, on Algo as a whole. Keep your eyes on the charts, though. There is something to watch. Can the bears continue to win out and send us back down? Or will the bulls break through that level of resistance and potentially send us up towards that 74.80 cent region before there's significant resistance? You off my screen now, Smay. That was your Algo, more than 2 minutes, but 2-minute technicals for the day. Let's go ahead and go into our HODL trophy predictions. Was there anything else, Smay, that you saw in chat that you wanted to talk about before we do our HODL trophy predictions?
No.
All right, so I'm going to set this up really nicely. We decided as a team, we're like, hey, let's go back to doing these predictions on Monday. You know, Mondays and Fridays, it's just the three of us. We don't have guests on the channel, so we wanted to spend this time with you guys. But we also thought, hey, how can we include these guys a lot more, all of our fans and our members? So here is the deal. If you leave your prediction in the comment section, not the chat. If you guys leave in chat, we're not going to be able to see that when we go back and look at the video. So we want you to leave your predictions of what Bitcoin will look like Friday at 10:55 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to go and collect that information on Monday. And whoever is the closest is going to get a special shout out on Friday. With that being said, though, I am the reigning champion, so I get to predict first about Bitcoin. And darn it, I don't like having to go first because, again, there's so much indecision and there's more days. Now we have to add an additional 24 hours of price action to our prediction. Oh, man.
So should people just put price prediction and then their price prediction?
Honestly, if they just put the number, if they just put a price, like if they were to put 21,000
just
or
a number?
Yeah, they're probably going to have enough there.
Would it make it easier for us if we did a searchable term, though, before it so they could highlight it as we're searching for that? Yes. So if you could put price prediction and then the number.
You could.
I think they could be easier.
I don't expect. I'm gonna be real. I don't expect there to be so many comments that we can't read
That's
all.
true.
But you can. Let's just get in the habit of that. Put Bitcoin price prediction and then your number, and we will use that keyword when we go and look at the comments, and we will let you guys know who is the closest. Oh, we also decided to take. So don't put like random numbers. Go within the closest 100. So don't ever put like 19,884.
People are not gonna
Put like 19,890.
Yeah.
Or 800, sorry, or 900, whatever you want. That would be easier for us to decide who's the closest
So
one to
round to the nearest 100 is what you're saying?
I do like this conversation because it's delaying and let me think more about my prediction. Because I'm really stuck in a spot here where, man, I think we'll know a lot more. Wednesday we get some more numbers, don't we?
13th.
The 13th, so we're a week away. Never mind. So that won't help us at all.
I mean, Wednesday we might get something. I don't know what it is. What are you thinking is going to be?
I was hoping we got some inflation data. I didn't realize we were a
that's
week
the
and some
13th.
change away.
Yeah.
Man, because it's just so dead right now. It is so, there's just nothing happening. There's no volume, kind of signifying that the market's kind of okay with these prices. And then we don't have any announcement coming out soon. But I'm going to go ahead and stick with the low end. I'm going to say...
Get the Euro GDP on the 7th.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be enough to really do much of anything. I'm going to say 19,700.
Yeah.
19,700. I'm going to stay. I'm going to say we're going to remain boring and we're just going to stay on this channel for a little bit.
Yeah.
I hope that's wrong though. I hope we do something. All right, TShroom, you were the winner before that one, so you get to go second.
Oh, and what did you say?
19,700.
19.7. Yeah. I want to take the high road this time.
Do it.
But Smay is gonna see strategically. It's tough to. Let's see. I'll do 20,200.
I think that's 500 above because I said 19.7.
Yeah.
Yeah. 20,200. Good prediction. Smay.
19,200.
Yeah, I figured you were gonna do that. Yep. Okay. So the chances of me winning are not great.
Whenever you're
This
in the
week?
middle. Whenever you go first.
Yeah, it's not great. So
Well,
my
it's
three-peat is my three-peat has low hopes at this point.
Well, I think that's a good thing that the person who wins goes first because it limits
Yeah.
the chance of repeats.
But you know, when you get a repeat, that's something special. Like
Well,
I
it's
just did
kind
here
of
the
like
last 2
it's kind of
weeks.
like yeah, exactly. It's kind of like the draft. You know, it's like
Yeah.
if you win the championship, you going last.
You know, I'm seeing comments in here before we wrap today's stream out. So love the predictions. You know, we got Matt C's 19.3, 19.3. You know, so they're getting close to that Smay. I saw 20,000. Here's the thing: if you guys are putting that number in chat expecting to be entered, you're not going to be entered. By the way, we had people upset about this one time we did a giveaway, and the way you entered is you had to leave a comment, and people got really upset because they left chat in the live chat. That will not get you into the competition to see who's the closest. You got to go to the comment section down below.
Show them on your screen.
You want to go to my screen? All right. So just in case you're wondering, this right here, this is chat. Look at that good-looking guy right there.
That is a good-looking guy.
Yeah. All right. So this is chat right here. You got to scroll down here. And why is my thing not even giving me an
It
option?
doesn't
Chat.
say it until
You got to
it's
wait till
done.
after. Okay.
Well, no, just say where it's gonna be though.
the comments are when you come down here, like below the video. When we go finish being live, there's comments down here. You got to go in and put your price in there. If you're in this live chat box, that's not gonna make
Look
it.
at the inception. Oh my gosh. Whoa!
Wow, I love it. I love it.
A lot of people are putting
you
their
can go off
price
my
predictions
screen.
in chat, which is fine. You can do it now because everybody else can see it. It's that it serves a different purpose.
No, Tim's gonna get upset.
What if
I'm
we
not
did-
getting upset. I'm trying to help you guys. You will get upset when you get like within $2 of it on Friday, and then we don't call your name because you're like,
All right, since we're so
put it in
far,
chat.
Since we're so far over time, can I pitch an idea for since we're making changes?
I mean, it's Labor Day. We can go.
Yeah, I
long.
want
It's
to pitch
fine.
an idea for. Okay, so what if we had 2 tiers where there's 2 people who are at any given week, 2 people, and this helps mitigate the person getting stuck in the middle problem. Every week, there's 2 people that are competing for the trophy, one of us, right? And then the person who isn't has been relegated because they lost, right? And they are competing against the chat. They're competing against the community. So it's there's 2 different competitions every week.
I love the integration into the word relegated.
Yeah.
You know, I love the concept.
Like the concept
Really
of
teaches
relegation.
you not to be last.
I also love the way you hold up your fingers as 2. You do like that. You're like what? Like this?
Yeah.
Like 2 instead
Yeah.
of like this or this. It's,
What did he do?
like this.
Well,
I wasn't trying to flick anybody off. If that's the joke
Spanish
you're
way,
making.
you can go
Okay.
like such.
But do you see the logic? What I'm saying? So let's say this week. So let's say Smay for some, he got the worst. He was the furthest away.
Yeah.
Right. And that we'd only do this part once, but so he would be in competition to see if he can beat the chat. Right. Mm-hmm. So that he would be competing against the chat, and then Tim and TShroom.
You can't beat the chat. The chat could spread itself. Like,
and it's also an average.
They could spread themselves out so far and just like collude against. Like they can go against that. I don't think you can compete against the chat.
No, I think you can, because I think you can.
Can I tell you how I feel about the idea?
Wait, what about this? You take an average of the chat, but you remove the 2 outliers. You remove 4 outliers. So the top 2. We'll talk about this after.
That's a lot of work. You put a lot of work on us to get the average of the. Also, like someone could just come in and like just obliterate it and say like $2.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You remove those outliers. You remove that. That's a very That's something that's common in statistics. All right, we'll talk about it more.
We'll cook on this idea and talk about it after the stream.
Gonna let it marinate.
And we'll let you guys know what we come up with. But for now, we're about to close it off, so you can go to that comment section and leave it. It was a fun show today. Keeping it relaxed, but we still want to come to you guys. If you guys appreciate that we are here every single time on time, and we don't take days off that we don't feel we should. We will take days off in the future, but not today. We are here for you guys. Make sure to leave a like if you are new here. Subscribe to the channel for more content that's just like this and yet even better. Don't miss tonight's episode of Crypto Foundations, where we dive deeper into Ethereum. You're going to want to go click on it and share it with all of your friends. With that being said, though, guys, we will see you in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.